Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Thursday, everybody. Hope your day and your week are going well so far. We've got a new day, which of course means a new MLB Player Prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, make sure hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel out a ton, and it means a lot to us. So if you haven't already, you're not a part of the Guy Boston Sports community, consider joining today and hit that subscribe button down below. I promise you, you won't regret it. We've got a small little MLB slate for today, but not a problem. I still have 6 props for today to give out to you guys that I'm pretty excited about. Before we dive into today's video, though, we should first recap yesterday how we did. And listen, guys, we've been on a pretty good run of late here. Here's the MLB prop recap from last night. We had a 4-1 record. Now, originally, I did give out 6 props in yesterday's video, but unfortunately Jose Caballero didn't play, so that prop gets voided, so not a big deal. But of the 5 props that did get graded, we went 4-1, so another solid performance from us here on the channel. For a while there, it did look like we were going to have a 5-0 sweep day. Brian Rocchio in the 9th inning for Cleveland cashes the over. He was set, he had the under the whole game. He probably shouldn't have got another at bat, but he does go in the 9th inning, and he gets us the miss that prevents us from having our perfect day. But regardless, a lot of great bets there, a lot of great hits. We made some good money yesterday. We're now 8-2 so far this week on our props. So we've been feeling it, guys. And if we go ahead and look at the prop record on the year so far, again, we've been feeling it. 40-27 prop record on the season. Not half bad, if I may say so myself. Of course, we had that long extended break in April, but doesn't matter because we have been cashing all year long on these props. And let's keep those good vibes going. I feel really good right now with the MLB plays. I feel like we've had a pretty good feel for these bets of late. And you know what, guys? I didn't bring it out yesterday, but I feel like I just have to because we've been feeling really well. I didn't want to bring out yesterday's video because I didn't want to jinx it, but we got to bring out the money gun. I had to do it, guys. I had to just go ahead and do it. Let it fly. Let it rain. I've been making it rain lately. Let's keep it going. 6 props in today's slate. Let's get into it. All right, guys, jumping right into the Outlier screen. Shout out to Outlier, the best sponsor out there. They are the best sports betting tool in the market, and we give you guys a special link in the description down below that gives you guys a 7-day free trial to check Outlier out for yourself. If you watch my videos, if you're familiar with my videos, you'll know that Outlier is a fantastic sports betting tool that you guys absolutely should utilize. You got nothing to lose. You try it for 7 days. You don't like it. You don't resubscribe. But I'm telling you guys, you will not regret using Outlier. It will definitely help you become a better sports bettor. So one more time, guys, link in the description down below, 7-day free trial to check Outlier out for yourself. All right, guys, in the first prop for today's slate, we're going Diamondbacks Mets, 7:10 p.m. first pitch. We're going Brandon Nimmo of the New York Mets under 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. All right, guys, at first glance, the data looks pretty good here. See, 8 of his last 10 games, he has cashed the under, averaging 1.2 HRRs per game. You stretch that data to his last 20 games, still 65% hit rate, 13 of his last 20 games, he has cashed the under, averaging 1.65, so a little bit higher over the last 20 games, but overall still a pretty consistent cash rate here for Brandon Nimmo. In 2024 so far, a 58% hit rate for him. 30 out of 52 games this year, he has cashed the under. Again, average a little bit higher, average 1.85 HRRs per game. There are a couple of outliers in there that obviously make the data look a little bit bigger. But overall, the important moral of the story is that he's been cashing this pretty consistently all year for the Mets. And if you want to go ahead and take a look at the head-to-head data, you'll see here 4 of the last 7 times he's faced off with the Arizona Diamondbacks, dating back to, of course, all of these matches actually dating back to last season. He has cashed the over, a 57% hit rate versus the Diamondbacks, averaging 2.14 HRRs per game. You see, he has had a couple of big games versus Arizona of late, but still overall, more than half the time he's cashing this versus the Diamondbacks. Now, scrolling down, look at what I find is the most important thing. That is, of course, these splits here. You see the head-to-head matchup. Brandon Nimmo has had 8 plate appearances versus Zach Gallen dating back to 2018. And the numbers fare well for us. Not good for Brandon Nimmo. 143 batting average versus Zach Gallen since 2018. Again, in 8 plate appearances. 250 OBP, 1 hit, 0 home runs, and 0 RBIs with a 12.5% strikeout rate. So pretty good head-to-head data there for this prop. Looking at the splits down below, you're going to see red, but honestly, it's literally exactly the same. Brandon Nimmo's hitting 214 this year for the Mets. Not very good. Versus right-handed pitchers, which Zach Gallen is, it stays literally exactly the same at 214. So overall, the hitting numbers not great for him. And looking at Zach Gallen, who's having a pretty solid year overall versus left-handed batters, which Brandon Nimmo is, a little bit better, slightly better. He's a 3.12 ERA overall this year, but that does drop to 260 versus left-handed batter, so that's pretty good for us. The batting average allowed drops from 233 to 223, so a drop, not a significant drop, but a drop nonetheless. And across the board, pretty consistent data versus left-handed batters for Zach Gallen. So a pretty solid spot here. We have the history of the head-to-head match. The splits look good. In translation, a pretty solid prop here. It's available for -125. We're getting it for DraftKings, although on Prize Picks, on Underdog, and on BetMGM, it is available. All right, guys, for the second prop of today's slate, sticking with this game, and speaking of Zach Gallen, we're going Zach Gallen over 5.5 strikeouts here. We're getting this for -140. It's available on DraftKings. However, if you're shopping for odds here, FanDuel -128, not bad. Also available on BetMGM, Caesars, and on Underdog. Again, guys, always shop around for odds. Although DraftKings is my sportsbook of choice, of course, if you can find better odds and better opportunities, don't be afraid to look around. But DraftKings -140. Again, FanDuel, you can probably find it for -128. It's saying here. And Daniel's pretty good. 6 of his last 10 games, he has cashed the over, averaging 6 strikeouts per game over the last 10 games. And, of course, he's only played 10 games this season. So the last 10 game data is his data for the year, a 60% hit rate on the season for Zach Gallen. And I'm actually going to go ahead and switch over to the MLB dashboard here. Guys, if you don't know what this is the exclusive dashboard that Ev, the creator of Guy Boston Sports, created. All you have to do to access this, which is a really cool tool, he updates it daily, all the information for all the games in terms of the lines, bunch of data and stuff. It's available to you guys if you become a member of the Guy Boston Sports community. It's $2.99 a month to become a member, and you get access to the MLB dashboard and some exclusive content there. So it's $2.99 a month, and you get access to this. It's a really good, also, if you're looking for an outlier in this, you combine them together. It's a fantastic duo of sports betting tools. All right, so we're looking for the Diamondbacks-Mets game. So that's game number 6. We'll go ahead and click on that here. And it'll take us to the Diamondbacks-Mets page. Again, you see all the data here. Pretty good. And we'll go ahead and look at Zach Gallen this season. You see overall this year a 25.9% strikeout rate, which is in the green zone, which means it is pretty good. Overall, you see across the board, his data looks pretty solid. Now, what we want to look over here is the Mets data to look at how the Mets are batting this season over the last 30 games or so. And you see here, look at the right side of the screen, over the last 30 days, the Mets not looking very good. A lot of yellow, a lot of red. Really not what you want to see here if you're a Mets fan. But what we're really focused on here is the strikeout percentage, because, of course, this bet is over 5.5 strikeouts. And you look over here, the Mets over the last 30 games are bottom 10 in Major League Baseball with a 23.2% strikeout percentage. So they're striking out a lot. Their batting average bottom 5 in Major League Baseball. So overall, the point being that the hitting numbers aren't fantastic. And again, you go back to Zach Gallen's numbers, they look really good. His strikeout rate pretty high in the green zone. On the road, 25.9%. Against right-handed hitters, 28.9%. It does a little bit lower versus left-handed hitters, but overall, the point being that the data looks really good there for Zach Gallen. Again, this prop, pretty good value at a pretty good odds. All right, guys, for our third prop for today's slate, we are switching gears over to the Tigers-Red Sox game, 7:10 p.m. first pitch. We're going Jake Rogers of the Detroit Tigers over half total base. We're getting that for -120 on DraftKings, also available on Prize Picks, Underdog, and Caesars. Rogers has cashed this line in 7 of his last games, including 5 straight, averaging 1.2 total bases per game. If you stress that data to his last 20 games, a 75% hit rate, 15 of his last 20 games, averaging 1.45 total bases per game. So really solid data. And on the year so far, a 55% hit rate for Jake Rogers. 18 out of 33 games this year, he's cashed the over, averaging 1.06 total bases per game. You'll see down here a little bit of a slower start early in the season, but of the last 20 games, he has really been playing very well for Detroit. And if we scroll down here to the splits, it looks even better. Now, we have no head-to-head data to show what Jake Rogers' numbers look like versus Nick Pivetta, but the splits look pretty good. In 2024 so far, a .226 batting average for Jake Rogers. Not great, but not terrible. Versus right-handed pitchers, it does increase to 240. His BABIP increases to 348. His ISO from 104 to 120. His extra base hit percentage does take a slight drop, but still pretty good. So overall, versus right-handed pitchers, the data looks decent for Jake Rogers. And again, he's been cashing these pretty consistently of late, so you have that trend mixed with the splits data, and it looks pretty good. And it helps our case here is that Nick Pivetta this year, 4.20 ERA, but versus right-handed batters, it jumps to 5.28. His batting average allowed goes from 237 overall to 254 versus right-handed batters. Slugging percentage increases. His extra base hit percentage takes a massive increase to 53.3% versus right-handed batters. So across the board, a solid matchup here for Jake Rogers. And again, the data looks pretty good. So pretty solid bet here again for minus 120 odds. Can't really beat it. All right, guys, we are officially halfway through our picks, and we just hit the 10-minute mark in the video. So if you're still watching this far in, comment 10 down below. As always, appreciate you guys who watched through the entire video, put a lot of work into these things. And so when you watch all the way through, I really do appreciate it. So comment 10 down below. And as always, the link for all of these picks will be in the description below. I make sure to highlight where this goes, and it takes you right to the card that shows you all my picks to either tail, or if you just want to follow along and watch, all that will be in the link down below. Our fourth prop from today's slate, we're actually going to stick with the Red Sox-Tigers game. We're going Jack Flaherty over 6.5 strikeouts here. Now, we're getting this from minus 135 on DraftKings, but you do see it is available on FanDuel, BetMGM, Caesars, and on Underdog. And again, the data looks really strong on this prop too, guys. 7 of his last 10 games, he has cashed the over. Of course, those are all 10 games he's played this season. 70% hit rate, 8.1 strikeouts per game. He's had some really big games. 4 of his last 5 games, he has cashed the over. We go ahead and narrow this data down to his last 5. You see 80% hit rate, 4 of his last 5 games, averaging 9 strikeouts per game over his last 5 games. He did miss on May 6th versus Cleveland. He had just 6 strikeouts. But the data has been pretty good here for Jack Flaherty. He's having a really good season. And again, referring back to the MLB dashboard screen, we have our Red Sox-Tigers matchup here. And again, you see Jack Flaherty. Although the 3.84 ERA doesn't look the fantastic, across the board, you see a lot of green here for Flaherty. His strikeout rate, 33.3%, is extremely high. That, of course, bodes extremely well for us. If we go ahead and move over to the right side of the screen here, look at the Red Sox batting over the last 30 days here. And again, similar to what we showed the earlier bet there, the data is not as bad, but not as bad as like the Mets were, for example. But not great either. You see the Red Sox hitting over the last 30 days, a lot of yellow there. You look at the strikeout percentage, 25.1%. That's actually worse than what we saw with the Mets. They are bottom 3 in Major League Baseball in strikeout percentage, so that's really good for our matchup here. They strike out a ton, and with the way Jack Flaherty is pitching right now, he's striking out a ton also. So it's just simpatico. It's perfect. You got one of the best pitchers right now with a strikeout rate versus one of the teams that strikes out the most. It's just perfect. It's symbiotic. It's a great bet. Sometimes it's funny when I start talking. Sometimes I don't know what, like I pull a Stephen A. Smith out of me. Like I don't know simpatico and symbiotic. I don't know where the fuck that came from. But I guess it worked. But overall, you know what the point I was trying to make. It was a pretty good bet. Sometimes I don't know. It's like subconscious. I don't know if I'm trying to feel like I'm smarter than I am. I don't know where I'm pulling these words out of. I promise you, I'm not reading a thesaurus before I hop on to record these videos. Fifth prop of today's slate, we're going Nationals Braves, 7:20 p.m. first pitch. We're going Adam Duvall here, under 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. I have bet this before. I think it was last week I took this line. We're getting it from minus 140 here on DraftKings. I know the odds are a little higher, but I'm telling you guys it's worth it. You throw in a parlay, or even if you bet it straight up, it's not a bad bet. He's cashed this line in 7 of his last 10 games. You stretch that data to his last 20, an 85% hit rate. 17 of his last 20 games, he's cashed the under. And in 2024 so far, a 78% hit rate on the under. In 28 out of 36 games, he's cashed it, averaging 1.22 HRRs per game. And again, going down to the splits, pretty good. Here you see Adam Duvall, 6 plate appearances since 2018 versus Trevor Williams, and a 167 batting average, just 1 hit off of Williams since 2018, and 1 RBI, 33.3% strikeout rate, which is pretty good. In 2024 so far, Adam Duvall just a 204 batting average, so not very good. But versus right-handed pitchers, it gets even worse. The batting average drops down to 119, so really good for us there. And Trevor Williams this year, 2.29 ERA overall. Now versus right-handed batters, that actually takes a pretty big jump to 4.18. But what we're more focused on here is the batting average allowed, which jumps down to 2.02. You see, he gives up slightly more home runs versus right-handed batters, which of course with Duvall, who is a bit of a power hitter, it's a little concerning there. But overall, the matchup looks pretty good here. All right, guys, in our 6th and final prop from today's slate, we're going Angels-Yankees, 9:38 p.m. first pitch. We're going Kevin Pillar. I had to bring up the Boston accent. Kevin Pillar over 8.5. I just went from Boston accent to Christopher Walken. Over. I'm not good with accents, guys. I'm going to be straight up honest with you. Accents not really my thing. Kevin Pillar over a half a total base. Now, this, I will be honest, this is a high alternate. This is a good, if you're looking for a parlay, this is not a bad one to throw in a parlay. It is available. I know people have been asking me for more prize pick stuff, so that's why I'm trying to do this one. This is a prize picks prop, minus 119 on Prize Picks. So if you are using Prize Picks, this is a good prop to throw in there. If you're not using Prize Picks, it is available on Caesars, DraftKings, and on Underdog, but of course it's got a pretty high alternate line, minus 170 there. I try not to do these, but of course people have been asking me for more Prize Picks, so here's my attempt to please the people asking for more Prize Picks. Again, this isn't a bad prop if you're looking for an MLB prop to throw in a parlay. This is not a good one, not a bad one. For minus 170, it's not bad to sprinkle in. And I'm not going to lie, guys, the data is fantastic. You see in each of his last 10 games, he has cashed the over, averaging 2.7 total bases per game. Really good data. He stretched that data to his last 20 games. Still pretty good. 75% hit rate, 15 of his last 20 games, averaging 2.4 total bases per game. The head-to-head data you see here yesterday versus the Yankees, he had 6 total bases yesterday, so really good game. Actually, not yesterday, excuse me. The other day, he had 6 total bases versus the Yankees. And 2024 so far, a 58% hit rate, 18 out of 31 games this year. He has cashed the over. You see a little bit of a slow start early in the year. He has recovered, has been playing a much better of late. And again, in 10 straight games, he's cashed the over. And if we scroll down to the splits, it just makes it all that much better. You see here Kevin Pillar, so far this year, a 349 batting average in 93 plate appearances versus left-handed pitchers. Now, I know it's a small sample size, only 41 plate appearances, but a 405 batting average versus left-handed pitchers this year is really good. 464 BA, BIP. The point is, you see it on the screen, every statistic here goes green and goes up versus left-handed pitchers. Again, smaller sample size, yes, but still enough that we can go ahead and take away from the data. And looking at the Carlos Rodon angle of things, 2.95 ERA this year, pretty good. His ERA does jump up versus right-handed batters to 3.06. His batting average allowed 2.32. Slugging percentage goes to 4.26. His extra base hit percentage drops slightly, ever so slightly, to 40.9%. It's not great data. Like a 2.32 batting average allowed, it's not bad, and a 3.06 ERA is pretty good. But with the way Kevin Pillar is hitting, Rodon, I think one hit. We're looking at him to get one hit. And see, he's actually exceeded half a base at 11 straight games, 2.9 bases per game average. So overall, the data looks solid. I think for him to get one hit tonight with the way he's been playing of late, I think it's a pretty surefire bet. So that's it for today, guys. Again, when you click that link down below for the picks, it'll take you to this page here. We get a quick little recap of all of our picks from today's slate. You can go ahead and click add to bet slip, and it takes you right to your sports book. Makes it very easy to tail, or if you just want to follow along for fun and see how we're doing, here is the card. This is the link you'll click, and you can go ahead and very easily follow along. So, guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. Let's keep the hot streak rolling. Let's keep the good times going here. Let's see if we can have another good night tonight. Until tomorrow, I hope you're all winners, guys. Have a good one.